Ransomware has become big business for criminal groups and a major threat for organizations. In fact, 75% of organizations reported experiencing ransomware attacks in the last 12 months, with 10% facing daily attacks. It's no longer a matter of if an attack will occur, but rather when it will strike. And will you be ready? When thinking about ransomware defense, consider that cyber attacks like ransomware often follow a specific sequence of events, referred to as kill chain or hacking life cycle. The hacking life cycle comprises of 7 stages, each helping malicious actor systematically explore and exploit vulnerabilities in their target system without being detected. During the final stages of an attack, hacker can remotely execute changes to gain foothold within the target system and accomplish their attacks. With so many different entry and exit launch points, the best defense against ransomware is a layered one. Let's see how HP, Aruba Networking, and Zerto can coordinate to help you identify and defend against ransomware attacks. Consider that ransomware attacks start with reconnaissance, the malicious actor gathering information about target to understand vulnerabilities and plan their attack to increase their odds of a successful breach. With intrusion detection and intrusion prevention services, or IDS IPS, running on HP Aruba networking gateways, you can inspect traffic to identify different types of threats and suspicious activities that could indicate active reconnaissance and other early stages of hacking. IDS IPS is configured in HP Aruba Networking Central. Network and security teams can set up policy that enforces traffic inspection on designated gateways. Multiple policies can be set to work for dynamics of the organization. 3 curated rule sets range from lenient to moderate to strict for intrusion detection and intrusion prevention, which can be applied to detect or prevent threats from any time within past 1 day up to a year prior. Over 50 categories could cover different activities, file characteristics, and other defined patterns called signatures. For example, you can detect categories like scanning that are typically part of reconnaissance, malware, exploit, attack. We can also filter the signature column for specific exploits. Like in this case, we can filter for VMware. This broad coverage helps your network act as a first line of defense against ransomware. Let's take an example of a particular form of exploit, a malware or a Trojan attack. This is a view of a target device, such as an employee laptop. Let's assume this laptop is attempting to visit a website known for malware. Intrusion prevention system is blocking the website, preventing an attacker from gaining foothold. Teams can see this happening in real time in HP Aruba Networking Central. Once the client tried to reach the website, it immediately triggered an alert in HP Aruba Networking Central's IDS IPS. Teams can click on threat list at any time to get detailed information into exactly what happened and when. Most attacks won't stop at a single try to weaponize that device, so network and security team will be on the lookout for repeated attempts. HP Aruba Networking Central can make it easier for teams to see when those repeated attempts occur so that they can act to prevent further damage. Teams can configure and set up an alert as an event when a particular threat, in this case malware, occurs more than a certain number of times per user. In this example, the alert is set to signal a critical severity event when a particular device belonging to a particular group and site triggers a threat exposure of more than 5 times in 5 minutes. The network is a security solution that can act as first defense against ransomware. As attack progresses, the network continues to add layer of protection. For example, a policy can be set to signal a critical severity event if a user repeatedly attempts to visit a malware website. For example, HP Aruba Networking Central can deliver threat signals at a specific threshold throughout the security ecosystem, allowing teams to take multifaceted protective actions. Here's an example using the newly configured critical severity event policy. Teams can set notification options so that when this event is identified, additional action will take place, such as sending an email to specific investigation teams and using webhooks to communicate automatically with systems. In this example, the Zerto continuous data protection solution is the consumer of the signal and will take the next action. Webhooks are easy to set up in HP Aruba Networking Central Platform Integration menu. The webhook can be scheduled or configured based on defined conditions. Webhook can also be set to retry if the first exercise of it fails, giving teams a helpful resiliency consideration in case system becomes unreachable during an attack. Returning to the earlier example, we can see in the threat logs that the client in question attempted to reach the prohibited website 5 more times. Based on our policy, Zerto webhook was dispatched, and the next protective action from Zerto will be triggered. Through the API request sent from Zerto webhook, Zerto can receive threat signals through security ecosystem. In this case, Zerto is receiving a response related to Virtual Protection Group or VPG that groups together virtual machines for data protection and replication purposes. The threat signal received by Zerto tags a checkpoint. Zerto checkpoints are recorded automatically every few seconds, providing consistent restore points of the protected virtual machines within the VPG. Why does this matter? In most ransomware attacks, once an attacker gains a foothold into the system, they will encrypt the data and exfiltrate it, demanding payments to retrieve or decrypt the data so the business can be operational again. With HP Aruba networking and Zerto approach, signals of early threat indicators are received by HPE Aruba networking and communicated to Zerto, which tags a checkpoint. If a ransomware attack was able to successfully take hold, IT team could simply roll back to a point in time shortly before the attack and recover to the business as usual, essentially negating any impact from this attack. This is just one aspect of layered defense against ransomware. Note that Zerto can also defend against ransomware by identifying anomalous behavior, such as bulk input output encryption. So don't let your organization fall victim to ransomware. With HPE Aruba networking and Zerto, you can protect yourself against ransomware attacks with a comprehensive layered defense that can start with the network. For more information, visit hpe.com/security.